Oh, hello there, and welcome to Veterans Medals Workshop. I'm Frank Foster, your host, and our mission here is, well, to explain every military award from the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and even the Merchant Marine if you want us to. So, let's get started. Hello and welcome to Veterans Medals Workshop, hosted by Medals of America, which supplies all of the medals, badges, and displays, and Medals of America Press, which supplies all the information that you're going to receive today. It comes from one of our books, all available on Amazon. I'm Frank Foster, your host and author of most of these books. And today I'd like to talk to you about a very interesting medal, the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. It's the very first personal decoration in the Navy and Marine Corps' Pyramid of Honor. And it goes all the way back to 1961, when the Secretary of the Navy sent a letter over to the CNO, Chief of Naval Operations, and the Commandant of the Marine Corps, and says, I think we need a special award for junior enlisted and junior officers to reward them for when they give exemplary meritorious service or great professional leadership. Well, the Marine Corps came back and said, no, we don't think so. We've got awards that we can give out. But the CNO came back and he said, no, I don't think we should give out more of the awards that we already have, because that would sort of lessen the prestige to people we presented them to in the past. And I think this is a good idea, but let's just do it with a ribbon. So the Secretary of the Navy said, okay, and they came up with this Secretary of the Navy Commendation for Merit Achievement ribbon. I mean, the title was this long, the ribbon was this big. Well, unfortunately, that didn't really work well, because in a couple of years, this started back in 1961, he said, okay, if you're in the Navy and you receive the ribbon, where do you wear it? If you're wearing full-size medals. So somebody said, well, you wear it over on the right-hand side. I said, no. That's where unit awards go. By 1964, they said, well, we're going to have to give up the idea of a ribbon and make it a medal. And by 1967, they'd even gotten around to changing the name to the Navy Achievement Medal, and now known throughout the force as the NAM, Navy Achievement Medal. Navy Achievement Medal. Now, the next problem they ran into was between 1961 and 2001, it was restricted, the authorization for the medal was restricted to captains and colonels and above. So you could be commanding a ship, a submarine, an aviation squadron, a shore unit, but you couldn't award it. You had to run it up the chain of command to get approval. And that was laborious. So if you see a Vietnam veteran who has a Navy Achievement Medal, that's a pretty big deal, because it had to go up the chain of command and come back down. And let me tell you, if you've been in the United States Navy, and I was a soldier, but I understand, a captain is a big deal. And you don't want to go up to see him unless you really have to. Okay, so by 2001, the Navy and the Marines had figured out they weren't giving out enough of these medals to reward really outstanding junior personnel. And when compared to the other services, they were way behind. So they changed it now, so if you're commanding a ship, a submarine, an aviation squadron, or a shore unit, you're authorized to award the Navy Achievement Medal. And that's a good thing, but it still has very high requirements. So what I'd like to do now is talk to you about the requirements, the different variations, the medals that it's normally awarded with. So if you have a Navy Achievement Medal, what other medals would you expect a sailor or a Marine to have today? There's some quick examples of that. And I would like to show you how veterans display their Navy Achievement Medals. So come on, I think you'll enjoy it. I know members of the naval forces do not want to hear this, but the United States Army Institute of Heraldry designed the Navy Achievement Medal, and that's a good thing, because it really put a lot of pressure on them to get it right. And they did that because they used the most iconic symbol of the United States Navy going back to the Revolution. A fouled anchor is displayed in the center of a rectangle bronze medallion, 1 1/4 inches wide with clipped corners. And then there's a 5-pointed star, point up, in each corner of the medal, and this design was suggested by the flag of the Secretary of the Navy, no dummies Vim, The reverse of a Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal is blank for engraving the recipient's name, and I'll show you an example of that in a minute. And the ribbon is myrtle green, suggested by the Navy and Marine Corps Accommodation Medal, and a stripe of Indian orange inside each edge distinguishes the Achievement Medal from the Accommodation Medal. Now, the Navy issues it in bronze, but the Marine Corps likes to have it anodized or gold-plated, as shown here. I mentioned earlier, the Navy issues the medal in bronze, and the Marine Corps likes to use it in anodized or gold-plated. For formal wear, there are miniature medals. There's the regulation ribbon bar, an enamel lapel pin for civilian wear, unofficial mini ribbons, and unofficial enamel hat pins. And as I said earlier, the medal's reverse is blank for engraving the recipient's name. If the medal is issued for meritorious service or achievement in a combat zone, it can have a C device attached to it, or if it is issued for remote support of a combat zone, it can have an R device. Additional awards of the medal are shown with a gold star or with a silver star for 5 awards. So you're going to say, but wait a minute, what about the combat distinguishing device? Starting in January 1991, the V was authorized for wear on the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal as shown here. The V is authorized for wear if the award is for acts of service involving direct participation in combat operation, and the V device can only be worn if specifically authorized in the citation. 21 December 2016, the Combat Distinguishing V device ceased being authorized for the Achievement Medal. If you want to know more information about United States Marine Corps awards and insignia, this is our latest book by Jim Thompson and I. We've been producing it for 30 years. It covers every Marine award and insignia from the Revolution to today. It's available for you on Amazon, and it can be in your house this weekend. I also need to point out that multiple awards of the Achievement Medal are mounted horizontally as shown here for the Navy and vertically as shown here for the Marine Corps. On regulation ribbon bars, both the Marines and the Navy wear multiple awards on the Achievement Medal horizontally. And it's also interesting to point out that the Achievement Medal goes after the Joint Service Achievement Medal, but before unit awards. Here are 2 good examples on how you might expect to see multiple awards shown on the Achievement Medal for both a Marine non-commissioned officer and a Naval petty officer. Say if a member of the Navy or the Marine Corps receives the Achievement Medal, they would also already have a National Defense Service Medal and a War on Terrorism Service Medal. The National Defense Service Medal is issued upon entrance into active service, and if you want to know more information, there's a great video available for it. The Global War on Terrorism Service Medal was issued to any member of the Navy or Marine Corps after 2001 for over 30 days service on active duty. Nice example of how the Achievement Medal would be displayed before the Navy Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Medal, and War on Terrorism Service Medal. If you want to know everything there is to know about the Navy Good Conduct Medal, you can find a great video available. Today's operational tempo cannot be sustained without major support from Navy and Marine Corps reservists. And if they receive the Achievement Medal, their medals would look like this, with the Armed Forces Reserve Medal at the end. But be alert about the Armed Forces Reserve Medal because there's a special back depending on the service. There's an individual one for the Navy reservist and a different and individual one for Marine reservists. Now what I'd like to do is take just a moment and show you how a petty officer would put together his multiple service medals for where his bottom row of medals show the Armed Forces Reserve Medal, 10 years service and 3 mobilizations, along with the NATO Service Medal and Rifle and Pistol Marksmanship Medals. His second row of medals would show his National Defense Service Medal, his Armed Forces Expeditionary Service, he served in Afghanistan, and the War on Terrorism Service Medal, the original issue with the word medal, and note that it is slightly larger than the other campaign medals. His personal decorations and good conduct medal go on the top, and you will notice that the multiple awards of the achievement medal are indicated by 5/16 gold stars, while multiple awards of the good conduct medal are indicated with 3/16 bronze stars. To know more information about United States Navy medals and ribbons from the Revolution to today, check out our latest book. It's on Amazon. If you order it today, you'll have it by this weekend. Here's a very nice example of a Marine Corps non-commissioned officer's full-size medals mounted for wear. And his second award of the Achievement Medal is shown by the 5/16 gold stars, and the 3/16 campaign stars are shown mounted vertically on his Afghanistan and Iraq medal. I'd like to do is show you some examples of how Navy and Marine veterans display their achievement medals. And this is a very nice example where the Submariner Chief Petty Officer displays his ribbons over his medals. This Marine veteran of the Desert Storm campaign displays his achievement medal with a lot of pride, as well as his enormous pride of having served in the 1st Marine Division. A truly unique case displaying a clever arrangement. This naval aviator and veteran of Desert Storm proudly displays his personal decorations and his ribbons and his multiple awards of the Navy Achievement Medal. Marine veteran of the Afghanistan campaign has a unique display because he also shows prior service in the United States Army 1st Infantry Division as well as the Marine Corps 1st Marine Division, and he has his Navy Achievement Medal and his Army Achievement Medal, as well as the 2 Good Conduct Medals and his campaign medals. Beautifully done case. Every veteran's service is different, and every veteran seems to display their awards in a different way. And this Navy veteran does an outstanding job in showing his ribbons over his medals and his proud award of the Navy Achievement Medal. Marine Corps Reserve Senior Non-Commissioned Officer does a beautiful job featuring all of his medals with the Navy Achievement Medal as his personal decoration at the top of the case. And we'll wrap up with this clever idea where a Marine Vietnam veteran takes his mounted for wear medals and puts them into a display case, and when the Marine Corps ball rolls around every year, he just pops open the case, takes out the medals, puts them on his uniform, and goes to the ball. Thank you for joining us today for our show on the United States Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've learned something. If you want to know more about any of the Navy or Marine Corps awards or any United States awards, you'll find the information in one of our books. They're all available for you on Amazon. And several of them are on a fall sale, so take a look. You can save $5. If you want to know more about United States Navy medals and ribbons, well, Jim Thompson and I have been producing this book for 30 years, and this is the latest edition. It covers everything from the Revolution to today. It's available for you on Amazon. You can order it today, and it'll be at your house by this weekend.